The biggest change in PEI's potato industry in the last 20 years has been the growth of what's called the processing sector. Frozen potato products like French fries for the fast food industry, restaurants, and home kitchens. It's been PEI's largest private sector job creator. In 2014, there has been a slowdown with layoffs at Irving-owned Cavendish Farms and an announcement by McCain that its plant will close in October. But for island potato growers, the processing sector has created a local market they can count on.
What started me in the processing industry was I had sold a bunch of potatoes to a guy that forgot all about me. Peter Mailman rolled along one day, and I was trying to fix up a cultivator to get something going. And he said, wanting to know what I had for potatoes, and I told him. And he said, well, I don't think they're any good for us, what you got, but if you're interested, he said, just plant a different variety next spring, and I'll guarantee you'll get a contract, and I'll guarantee you will get paid.
Allison Dennis went on to become one of the most successful processing growers on the island. The development of the processing sector in the mid-1990s came at a very difficult time in the industry's history. An obscure potato virus called PVYN was discovered in some PEI potatoes planted in Ontario. It's a virus that's only a danger to tobacco, but it was prohibited in North America. Valuable seed markets were lost. Farmers desperately needed new buyers. When did you see that seed industry become more difficult or not as easy?
About PVYN time. That's the time, and then we lost some, and then I think probably the countries couldn't afford to buy our seed, or they wouldn't guarantee the dealers here started getting into a little bit of trouble by not getting the money, out of the countries, and so everything tightened up.
The processing sector was almost in line to start to expand at that point in time anyway. And I'm sure that the loss of them markets no doubt encouraged some people to be looking for other markets, obviously, because the fresh market just couldn't handle it all.
The processing sector works differently from the seed and fresh markets. Contracts are negotiated in each potato growing area, and generally farmers know what they're getting before they plant. In the seed and table sectors, weather, production levels, and demand create boom or bust prices and a lot of risk and uncertainty. Few get rich from processing, but the money is steady. These are big companies, they're not going to give anything away. How do you find that right balance of knowing how far you can push them?
For a number of years, it was more guessing, I think, than anything. I mean, we know we added up our own expenses, I guess, and trying to figure where we could break even, and then we had to add a little on, like everybody else does, just to make sure you had enough to get. And their fries were picking up, and they needed some people to guarantee them some product. And
sometimes the seed and table guys would get some real big money if there was a drought in Europe or South America or the States. Did you sometimes look at that sector and wonder if you made the right decision?
I thought the steady money was worth it, because I had been one year I was down, and I didn't have a whole lot of choice besides they were coming in and saying, okay, we'll supply your fertilizer and your seed, and we'll make sure you have a market for your product, and we'll guarantee your price. So the other way, we might get you a big price, and we might do this, and we might do that, and we might give you nothing. So that's how I made my decision.
Like other potato markets, the French fry sector has become more competitive. Consumption in North America has slumped following the financial collapse. There had been huge growth in Asian markets, but that's slowing down. So negotiating profitable prices for farmers has become more difficult. But a processing contract remains a valuable thing on many PEI farms.
Now there's not much negotiating. Like, you're dealing with a big corporation, and they're necessary for the business, and you're told, what what you're going to get pretty well. We have a council that negotiates the price for us, which is great. And I can't see them not continuing on, and I can't see the processing not continuing on. I mean, I don't think that the government or anything can let Irving's or anybody or McCain's leave. I don't think they can.
They're just too important to
the industry.
too many farmers.
Yeah.
Just over half of PEI's potato production now goes into frozen potato products, so it remains a critical market for potato growers and for the hundreds of much-needed jobs in rural PEI. Cavendish Farms management continues to push growers here to become more productive, more efficient, to keep up with the consistent quality and high yields U.S. potato farmers enjoy in the Pacific Northwest. It's a challenge PEI potato growers say they're determined to meet.